guys replaced new poles.
Okay, we're live.
Evidently, when they took the old poles, they took the brackets with them.
So the answer to the question is, hey, we have to order new brackets.
I see. Okay, well, I'll let him know. I told him I'd
Tell
ask.
them next year we promise we'll start from that and work our way this
Yeah.
way.
Remember that, let's make a note of that.
But there's no brackets, you can't
Yeah,
put it
there's no
there.
brackets on the pole.
Tell them we'll try to work
No,
on
I'm
getting
ready.
brackets put on the pole.
I will.
Always
By
ready.
next year.
But that we all do consider him as part of the town.
Yes.
That's what I said.
That's why I buy gas there.
A1 and 2.
We still got 2 minutes left.
Oh, Lord.
Is it inappropriate to start early?
It's noticed for 6, so technically probably better start.
That's what I was thinking.
My watch might tell you 6, and somebody else's might tell you 5:59. I don't know.
I don't know if these are on. She's on.
Patrick, you're not telling me that you synchronize our watches.
I know I'm not. No, I am not.
We need to get a clock set to Zulu time or something.
Yeah,
or
yeah, no,
British
I
time.
don't think so.
Looks like everything's on now.
That's why, now tap it.
$1,800. That's what time we get started.
Oh. I think so.
1800.
All right, looks like it's 6 o'clock. This is the Dayton Town Council Special Meeting, December 4th, 2024. And first order of business is elected and non-elected salary ordinances. So I'll just note that Rocky had, looks like you
Yeah.
got some paper together here.
Right, okay, I'd like to comment on this, first of all. I did get a hold of, the clerk over at Mulberry, cause we were kinda comparing everything with that. And, of course, she's an elected position and the assistant is a hired position. She's been the clerk over there for 17 years. Her assistant's been there for 16 years. I asked her if she could share with me what the duty of the assistant is. She said yes, she's in charge of the utilities and collecting the water bills. Pretty sure it's pretty much about the same thing that Cindy does here, okay? So, I asked her about stipends. She said the only stipend that they get is for their insurance, which is $200, I think, a month, is what she said. So, I took the information that she gave me with the information that was presented to us and came up with what I feel is a fair pay proposal for the town clerk, okay? As I passed them out here to you, and what they are, obviously, is $35,100 base pay, $14,000 for insurance stipend, and $1,500 YEB, which is year-end bonus, okay? For a total of $50,600, okay? I think if memory serves me right, our total that we had on our other things totaled up to be $69,099, okay? And that's like a $30,000 raise over what, the pay plan was designed when she got voted in. So, any rate, I think I'm only trying to be fair here in my recommendations, okay? And granted, you know, she stays here 17 years, she can be up there in that $70, $80, $80,000, whatever. You know, all I'm trying to do is eliminate these additional $15,000, $20,000 stipends, okay? I think the pay needs to be what the pay is, no matter if we have a person that's here now, and if we have to hire another person, that's what the pay is, okay? Because it doesn't matter, if you hire somebody else, they're gonna have to be qualified, or they're gonna have to learn, just like we all do. So that's what I got to say on that. Do we want, you want me to go into the other two I also, brought up at this time, or do you wanna wait? Now, another thing I'd like to bring up, I think was something as important as what this is, I think we need a full board here to really, to be here to be able to vote on it. And since Carla didn't make it here this evening, I wouldn't see where it would hurt to put it off until our regular meeting to vote on it. That's another opinion of mine. Now, if you want, I'll be happy to go through the marshals and the deputy marshals, what I got. Oh, before I go there, one thing I will say, on this proposal that was put out for the paid employees, there was nothing on there about our little crossing guard. Okay, what we're gonna do with her? Oh, that's not a elected position, that's a salaried position. Okay, I don't know if there was any kind of a raise put into effect for her or anything else, okay? So,
That's a school traffic guard?
yeah, school traffic guard, I don't know, I mean, you got it down there at $21.50. I did not have a proposal for an hourly wage, but you know, I don't know how long she's been at that pay rate or anything else, but obviously there was nothing that
I
was,
believe that was increased this year.
It was 50 cents.
by
It's
50
increased
cents,
50 cents.
okay, all right. So, okay, now, I think I seen a discrepancy here on this, you call it a longevity pay for the town marshal. It says bi-weekly $1,500. Well, if you do that $1,500 bi-weekly, that comes up to $39,000.
I'm not seeing that.
On the, right here on the longevity for the town marshal. Are you down in here somewhere, bottom one? 15,000? I'm thinking you meant $1,500 for the whole year, not bi-weekly. When you put that on there. Because the way that comes out,
Rocky, what page is that on?
That's on,
Front page,
on the front page, down at the very bottom, where it says
second to the bottom.
longevity bonus.
Oh, okay.
Okay? I mean, it's probably a typo is what it is, but I'd like to save ourselves any,
Now, does that matter? Because it also says annual, not to exceed.
well,
See, right here, here's the general,
Okay.
and it says bi-weekly, but then it says not to exceed.
so the way that, putting all the figures in order, from what I pulled off of this proposal that was set before us, there was a base pay of $67,600, a uniform allowance of $800, a phone allowance
Just an
of $300,
So we can amend that at the next meeting.
We could amend that.
okay?
We could amend that here.
And,
Yeah.
of course, whatever that,
Yeah.
longevity bonus would be, plus the insurance stipend of $13,999, almost $14,000, okay? it would've came out to $121,699. It's a pretty nice pay raise, you know. Or if it's just the 1,500 for the year,
It's once a year.
See what that says right there?
yeah, it says not to exceed, but it doesn't say for the year,
Yeah.
so,
Well,
That's why I said-
How can you, how can you?
well, I'm not saying you
not
can't.
make that,
I'm assuming it is, but I wouldn't wanna get something that's not in order, okay? It shouldn't have ever been put in there bi-weekly to begin with. Okay, so at any rate, without it, it comes to $84,199. Just what it comes to. His pay this year was $71,610, so as you can see, that's about like $15,000 raise. Now, when we first started talking about doing pay raise, the figure of 3% was brought up, okay? If you'll recall, the figure of 3% was brought up. So, what I did, I put in a pay proposal plan, a base pay of $60,500, an insurance stipend of $14,000, phone stipend of $300, a uniform stipend of $600, and a YEB, which is your longevity or your year-end bonus of $1,500. That's a 7.5% increase over what they made this year, is $76,900 for the year total, with no additional stipends, okay? And then I did the same thing for the deputy marshal. I put a base pay of $48,500, insurance stipend of $14,000, uniform, I put $800, and I should have put $800 on the other one, because that's what you put in yours, but irregardless. $300 phone stipend, anyway, for a total of $63,600. That's an 8% increase over what he made this year. To me, I think those are pretty doggone fair. Okay, I don't think we need no 20%, 30% pay increases.
All right,
So that's where I'm at.
thank you for that, Rocky. Anybody else have any comments?
What's the insurance stipend now?
6,000.
And the proposed, actually, this thing isn't really.
14.
That's what we're looking at, other
Yeah.
than Rockies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think if you'll remember, I made the comment that I researched insurance, and if the town were to sponsor an insurance plan, the town's cost would be $14,000.
Definitely not opposed to that.
So, my one question is about the bi-weekly. Of course, it says not to exceed.
Right.
So I think if, based upon what you see up above, it says bi-weekly 26, and then not to exceed. So I would think that that should cover that. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I think it's a little ambiguous. I would probably, if that's meant to be a once a year $1,500 bonus, I would probably put once a year, that's a $1,500 bonus that you get one time a year, and it's not to exceed $1,500. And I think if that's the change you'd wanna make, I think you can do that as a part of the second reading. You just somebody would move to adopt the ordinance as presented. There would be a second, then somebody would propose that amendment, basically just to change the word bi-weekly to the term once a year. There would be a motion, a second, you would vote on that amendment, then you'd vote on the ordinance as amended. So I think you can do that here in second reading, but I think it's a little ambiguous. I mean, I think you could, it's probably okay, but I would change it to annually, probably, just to make sure it's doubly clear.
So that would be the process then, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
fine, and
And,
it would get the same result then.
and that figure would, and I ran it with that, for just 1,500 for the year.
Right.
And that figure would made the yearly income at $84,000 $199.
Right.
Okay, so,
Okay, so, anybody else have any comments? Steve, you got anything?
and that was compared to 71,610 that he's making this year, so that's like a $12,589 dollar raise, is what that would amount to. And the same way with the deputy marshal. I don't know. That'd make us doing an annual pay of like $155,398 a year for these two wages, and there's not another, I don't care where you can look, there's not another place that has that kind of a salary for two law
Well, I
enforcement.
don't know if I agree with that, because we presented that at the last meeting of what the salaries were for deputies, deputy marshals for the county.
Yeah, is that the same
And,
size?
so
as-
that number actually came out to about that number, plus they had another $14,000 because of their insurance.
Yeah,
So from that aspect, we're
Yeah.
really not, we're not even close,
well.
but it seemed like a good place to start.
You can't, I don't think we can compare a 1,600 population again to a 70,000
Well, what we're
people.
comparing is, who we're in competition with for, being able to hire people to be able to take care of this town. And, I'm not for defunding the police, so,
So, yeah.
all right, anybody else have any comments? All right, I'm gonna make a motion to, let's see, which one did we say we're gonna do first?
For elected is 2024-25 for elected.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-25 on second reading.
Second.
All right, so then the next part is we wanna do we wanna change this bi-weekly to?
You're on the 25 ordinance, I think you'd hold off.
That's the
on
next
that.
Oh,
one.
okay, all right.
You'd hold
let's-
off on that
all right.
until the next ordinance.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Steve.
Okay, how do you vote? Mark?
Yes.
Rocky?
No,
Leah?
Yes.
Rocky, or Steve, I'm sorry.
Yes.
5, I make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-26 on second reading.
Is it 26 or 25?
26.
This is
We're on non-elected now, Steve. We just passed the elected.
Second.
Now, if somebody desires to make a motion to amend that ordinance so that the town marshal longevity bonus rate per reads once a year rather than bi-weekly, that's the amendment you would make, and then somebody would make a motion for that in a second.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we amend ordinance 2024-26 to read, once a year from bi-weekly for the town marshal, chief deputy marshal, and the town manager,
I second it.
For the longevity bonus.
For the longevity.
for the longevity bonus.
deputy marshal didn't have anything in there at all.
Yeah, but it's.
How long's he been here?
That's not what I'm saying, Rocky.
Oh.
I'm saying for this wording right
Okay.
here,
Okay.
okay? All right, so, it was,
I'll second that.
motion made by myself and seconded by Steve.
Okay, how do you vote? Leah?
Yes.
Rocky?
No,
Mark?
Yes?
And Steve?
Yes.
All right.
Now you'd need to vote on it to approve the ordinance as amended.
Okay.
So you'd need a motion to approve the ordinance as amended, second, and then you can vote.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance as amended.
I
Second it.
Yeah.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Leah.
Okay, how do you vote? Steve?
Yes.
Leah?
Yes.
Rocky?
no,
Mark?
Yes. Okay. All right. All right, now, ARP funds. sent out information to all of you to, look over all this stuff and see where we're at on these things. Your paper was hitting the mic and it was causing that.
Sorry.
It's all right.
So, we looked at all these different things here, and I guess the one thing we've got totals on right now are for a truck, the hydrant maintenance, valve assessment program, seized valve release program, and then I got quotes from AccuDig for what their rates are for 2025, and they told me that 2026 rates, you could figure a 5% increase on that. And then Bridget got rates for street cleaning. So let me pull this up on my computer. And then maybe we can talk about each one of these things individually. Because I put a spreadsheet together so we can throw some numbers around and see where we're at. Probably the first thing we ought to do is talk about the truck. Okay? I asked Mike to, since he knew somebody about this, to basically replicate the exact truck that we have right now and see what that cost would be, see what it looked like. We paid $56,000 for that truck used. And how many miles does it have on? 20. It's got 20,000 miles on it. And so this price is essentially the same truck that was $71,638.75. And with a plow, and it was actually a stainless steel blade plow. Right? So, and Steve said he had some concerns about replacing the truck with that same truck again.
Well, concern is a matter of, I don't know that we need two toolbox trucks
I agree with that.
in the fleet, when we've got a dump truck that's on its last legs, and we've got, and there are other things we could do with that. That was more my issue.
Sure.
And along those lines, if you'll take one of those and pass it down there. Kurt. So, not unlike, what Mike did, I went online just really quickly, did some, down and dirty research. Because I know we're on a kind of a short timeline. There's a chassis-only vehicle sitting at the dealership in Indianapolis, and the pricing's there. And then on the back pages, you'll see there's a company called Switch or something, I forget, let me see what it is.
Yeah. Switching out.
Yeah, so they basically make a roll-off system for smaller trucks. And because it is a dump, the roll-off system is a dump-based system, you can use it as a dump truck. You can get a body with a salt spreader on it and use it. You can get a body with a auger system, so you can use it to blow leaves into or whatever you want to do into it. You can just get a chassis, make up whatever you want to build it on the chassis. So it just seems like something like that might be more usable to us, or if we don't want to do that route, just it seems like a dump truck or a flatbed might be, just so we have a little more capability than yet another toolbox truck.
So you can take this truck and you can put these different bodies on it.
So you buy, if you flip the page next, Mark, I think it'll show you the hoist system.
Right here.
So you buy that hoist system, attach it to the truck. It's got a scissor lift on it, so it can lift up the bed, and you pull up whatever bed you want onto it, similar to the way a roll-off truck works. And then when you lay the bed back down, it locks that bed into place. So like I said, you could get any kind of bed you want. We could start off with a salt spreader, we could start off with a dump truck, and if we need something else, then it's just a matter of getting another device. But I think, I'd rather see us replace, I think the truck is a good idea. I'm wholeheartedly behind that, but I'm just thinking a dump truck or a flatbed or something with other usability other than hauling tools. Obviously, you can stick a plow on anything that's got a, you know, as long as it's big enough to push. And obviously, we'd wanna get a plow for it.
That chassis is 3,500.
Whatever it says there, like I said, you know, the problem is when you go online and look at those things, they don't really typically put prices on them, because they want you to talk to somebody.
So this truck has got a Cummins turbo,
It's got a diesel, it's a
Oh, yeah.
550.
it's a
55.
diesel,
Yeah, it's a
Ram
500 series,
Yeah.
okay.
or 5,000 series truck, it's a,
So,
It's a nice looking truck.
so,
and I couldn't find one in a single cab. Everything I saw in the time I put into trying to find a chassis only was all crew cabs. So, and I know that we don't have to, do we have to have the money spent or just allocated?
Under contract.
Yes.
So obviously, we
Yeah.
could, if they had to go look for a truck for us, as long as we made a contract or agreement with the dealership or a dealership, we'd be okay.
Yes.
As long as you got it under contract, then you're
Yeah.
good. I mean, you gotta make sure you're following the purchasing
All right,
policy.
and
all
if
that
we
stuff,
decide
too.
we wanna do a tool body, they actually make a tool body for it. I just don't know,
so I would guess that maybe one of the concerns is having so right now we've got the Chevy, we've got
the Ford dump.
The Ford dump, and we've got the Dodge,
Mhm.
okay? And the Chevy is, it's gonna obviously need to be replaced at some point, right? It's,
Well, I don't know that it, up until we bought the Dodge, we only had 2 trucks. Right, we had the dump truck and we had that Chevy. And then when we bought the Dodge, we didn't, I don't know if we couldn't or whatever, I wasn't part of that. Couldn't or didn't want to trade it in or get rid of it to do
so we
the
do.
Dodge. So now
we-
we're at 3 trucks.
We do have Baker Farms now that we didn't have before too, so we got another 110 houses that, I mean, we got that streets and everything that we'll need to plow. So we've added that to the town's responsibility. So, all right, so I asked Mike and Kurt to come because, I'd like to hear what their thoughts are, simply because, they're the guys that are gonna be using the thing, you know? So I thought we could be better informed by hearing what their thoughts are as well. So, if you guys have anything to say, I need you to go up to the microphone though, because otherwise you can't hear it. Yeah. Make sure it's on first. I don't know if there's
Yeah, there's a switch on the back.
battery on the switch on the back. There you go.
There you go.
Well, the only thoughts we don't want a diesel, because the diesel's another $12,000 more than a gas one. That's another big increased price. Plus, these trucks settle. That's not good on a diesel motor either for longevity. Diesel needs to be ran, you know, that's why we wanna look at a diesel, we're trying to get the big gas.
Okay, I've been.
They hold up better for
Yeah.
what this is.
Sure.
This is.
And I don't know if they make the larger, I mean, we could go with a smaller truck, that's not really the, was it, what else?
Yeah, 3,500 bigger than.
Yeah.
They've been bigger before. That's what you've got now. And the Chevy's too light a duty truck. It's only 7,200 GVW. You put a plow on it, you raise that plow up the front end of that drop 6 inches. I'm not exaggerating it.
No, I don't doubt it.
It's just an old truck that's too light duty for what
Okay,
you're doing with it.
Just
Say
so I,
3,500 is big enough.
Yeah, it works fine.
Doesn't have to be a dually, it can be a single.
Single wheel,
Single.
plenty. Yeah, dually's not
The only
really
difference
necessary.
between a dually and single is you have to replace 4 tires on the rear
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You know, single axle's fine.
Yeah.
okay, so is your only concern the fact that it's a diesel engine versus a gas engine?
No, that's just
Okay,
one concern.
all right,
I mean, the other bed options that you're talking about are interesting, but if you're gonna keep the dump truck, we don't need a flatbed or a dump truck, cause we got one to use, unless you're gonna get rid of it. I mean, and you only use that dump truck, we use it to spread salt, but we haven't done it yet, but we've got a loaded case it gets bad tonight, but, and I think we hauled rock with it one time last year in the summertime. And you can haul rock in those utility trucks, but we've got 2 trailers. If you need to haul rock to disperse along the road, we can load rock on trailers, because trailers are easier to shovel it out of than out of a pickup or whatever kind of bed truck. Unless you've got a dump bed truck, then you can dump it out. Which we've got a dump bed truck.
Do you feel you need toolboxes on a second truck?
Well,
or
the only thing Kurt and I were discussing, the town's growing.
The town's what?
Growing, you're gonna
Growing.
need
Yeah,
more than one truck that's capable of carrying tools, because right now, the way you have to do it, if you carry tools in a truck that doesn't have dedicated space for it, they're flopping all over the place, possibly tearing them up, or if you got them in the cab with the driver, that can be a problem too, you know, safety wise, something sliding over and getting where it shouldn't be. But, or if you set them in the open bed, then they slide around and possibly tear up,
yeah.
you know, back there, that's why they're dedicated. But they're steel beds, I mean, whether you get a utility bed or not, I really don't care, because I can use anything you got, but I just think that for the multi-purpose, you know, because you're looking at the proposal Steve's talking about, I don't know what that rig costs, what's that rig cost that sets on the back of the
I think
truck?
it depends on the body you go with, it's somewhere between 20 and 30K for, with a bed and all that kind of stuff, but again,
And then the
I haven't
truck-
gotten in the
The
price.
truck by itself with the chassis, I know, cause I retired from Chrysler, when you buy that truck, you still pay for that pickup bed, I don't give a shit whether you get one or not, that price is still figured in. And, that's the truth. And, then they get rid of the bed, and you still, they keep it and profit from it somewhere or another, but then they charge you for whatever you do put on there, whatever that cost might be, you know, so those are all factors in.
Got enough tools for putting
Yeah, but-
got enough
Well,
tools?
we're gaining, brother, yeah,
Okay, I
we're
just wanna
gaining.
make sure, I knew you were a little short on tools.
Yeah, and we're gaining, we've got some good tools to use,
Good.
so, yeah. So far, it's working out well,
Yeah.
but we need to keep in mind, if whatever type of truck we get, we need to make sure that it's capable of having a Reese type hitch on the back to pull
Right.
the trailers for the mowers and stuff like that, whether, you know, and I'm sure that would be either way, but we need to keep that in mind.
So what is the condition of the Ford? I mean, what,
Well, it's just from using salt so many years, it's pretty rusty frame and so forth. It's not ready to break in half, but we just had to put those transmission lines on it because the salt had eat through them and had to have that, what was it, $2,900 or something, big old lot of money for doing that. But I talked to the guys that done it, they had to take the motor mounts loose and tilt the motor in order to change them, so it was a pretty involved process to change those out. They were cooling lines that cool the transmission is what they're for, that run from in front of the radiator to the transmission.
so the Ford is, I mean, if that rusted out, the rest of the underneath side is probably.
It runs good, I mean, it's still workable and usable, it would depend on.
It's a diesel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a diesel too, and that's,
So, I mean, you said if it sits too long, it's not good on it,
it's
but.
not good, but we start that one and run it once in a while. But I don't like just wasting fuel like that when you don't have to, if you don't have the diesel.
So, is the Ford, it has the salt spreader in it,
Yeah, that could be transferred to another truck, that spreader don't have to stay on that truck.
but it couldn't be transferred to a truck with the toolboxes in it though.
I don't know if I don't remember the width of that truck. Have to measure.
I just.
Actually, that salt spreader's outdated, it needs to be, that's a major concern because of the type of distribution belt that's on the bottom of an auger distribution would be a lot better and more reliable. That steel, it's like the old manure spreaders that gathers out there. You get the wrong load on it, it's gonna break, then you gotta shovel the whole load off so you can fix that change.
Well, so, Steve, I didn't know that something like this even existed, you
It's
know?
pretty neat, isn't it?
It's,
Well, again,
It-
I threw that up there because I saw it, did a little research on it. I mean, I think if we go with a I don't have any issue with going with a gas engine. I mean, I'm not a
Yeah.
big diesel fan either.
But we need something to carry two of them. 'cause
But I
both
think
trucks
there are
have
ways
two.
to, on whatever we do, whether we get a flatbed or we get a dump, or if we repeat our toolboxes on, you can get toolboxes on just about anything at this point. You can see dump trucks running around here with toolboxes under, between the bed and the cab. I just, and I get we need more vehicles, but we still only really have 2 part-time employees at this point. And we're gonna have 4 vehicles at that point, and 2 of them will have tool beds on them, and if we need to move something, like when we get mulch out here that we had to have delivered because the dump truck was down at the time, or when we have gravel delivered, which is what we did we didn't pick up the gravel for the police station, did we?
Yes,
Did we?
yeah.
Okay, so we use
the
it for
dump
that.
truck. Yeah.
I don't know, I don't have an issue with, if that's what we really think we need, that's fine. Again, I'm not married to a diesel engine, it's just, at that size, that's what they had.
Yeah. It's just.
I
a lot
just
more
think
money.
having 2 trucks identical in a situation where we might need something else, I don't know. Either way, we're kinda guessing at what we might need down the road. And as it is now, if we keep the Chevy, we've got 2 lighter weight trucks, bigger truck for the plow. I just thought if we're gonna buy a truck, we'd replace the Ford and get another dump truck. And then if we don't want a dump truck, if we don't think we need it, a flatbed that we could throw the salt thing on and.
They don't make, or, I'm asking, do they, like this truck, it's got this is a crew cab, but do they make, can you change the crew area out to
That's what I was
a
wondering.
box,
turn
I
it
mean,
into
a toolbox area?
Well, you could try to get, again, if we had a little time, you could probably get them to order, or we could get a truck with a single cab, and then you could just put a toolbox on the back, between the cab
And the
and the bed. Cause I've seen those on a lot of the long guy, dump trucks you see running around here will have, even on a dual cab, they'll still have a toolbox back there, you can throw shovels and stuff in it. If you needed to, I'm sure you could put a drawer in it or whatever. I don't know, I literally sat yesterday and swung through after we brought, somebody mentioned that we were thinking about another toolbox, I thought, well, let me go look and see what we can find just really quickly, and I remember flipping through the magazine that comes here to the town hall and seeing that switch system and just went and looked it up. So I mean, that's a couple hours of research at max, so I suppose if we really got into trying to lay it out, we could figure something else out.
Yeah, this opinion, you're gonna have to look and then check all the costs that you're gonna incur doing all this special stuff, cause nobody does it for free, and it's gonna be quite a bit more money. I mean, I don't know how much money you guys look at spending, that doesn't matter to me, but that's just, how it works.
As far as the other vehicle that we already have, we could probably do with it what we did with the old police car. We could,
Yeah, we don't have to have 4 vehicles.
No.
yeah,
You know,
we have,
I don't think we wanna have 4 vehicles, actually.
right,
So we probably would sell one of the vehicles. I don't know, I don't know.
I mean, there's an outfit called Dump Dog that makes a dump bed you can throw in the back of a regular truck. I don't know that
I
it'll
mean,
fit
you
in the
could-
back of a tool truck.
Therefore.
Yeah, we could also look at a dump trailer,
Yes,
I mean,
I
that would.
can get one of those anytime we need at McAllister's.
Right.
Well,
So-
I'd like to try to cut back on the amount of free stuff we're trying to
You
get out
don't
of
have to get it
McAllister's.
free, they'll let you pay for it.
Okay.
Anyhow, but.
The idea is we're trying to use some money up that we've got, not.
So, I mean, so
I
there's
love this.
the option for a dump trailer, if the only concern is dump, and we don't have to dump, we're not dumping a lot all the time, cause we're really not, we're occasionally, right, mulch, gravel, I mean, I don't know, there may come a time when we have a bunch of limbs that we need to transport or something like that, we could have, so, but now we know we're gonna have to spread salt. We know we have to spread salt. And so, I don't think that salt spreader is gonna fit in the back of, I don't know, intuitively, I don't think it would fit in the back of that Dodge.
Yeah, I never measured it.
I don't think it would, and you said that probably needs to be replaced anyhow.
I'll
So-
look at it,
Yeah.
that were me.
Do we have a spreader for the, we just have the one spreader?
No, we got the little spreader goes on the back of the Chevy, but it fits in a reese hitch, you can put it on any truck.
Oh, so that's one of the little ones that sits in a trailer hitch?
Mhm.
Okay.
It holds about, let's see, 400 pounds of salt, something, 400 or 500. Which, about 2 of those is what it takes to do all the intersections in town. It's small, what I've done the last couple of times.
So, you're saying that you could do without the Ford if you had 2 salt spreaders?
No,
Well,
because the Chevy's too light to plow with.
yeah.
Oh,
But,
well, okay, okay.
So the two
Wh-
concerns
wh-
are plowing and salt spread, right?
If you, let's say you replicated the truck we have now, okay? We bought another salt spreader for like,
a small,
a small salt spreader.
yeah,
Okay, so now we can spread salt, we can plow, and then if we got a dump trailer, then we could dump. Then we'd only need 2 vehicles.
Oh, so you're thinking you get a salt spreader for the Dodge we have now,
Yes.
a
'Cause
large one?
Because it goes, you said, it goes in the back of the Reese hitch.
Yeah, but how much salt does the big one hold?
3,000 pounds.
Right, so you can,
Yeah, but you gotta use it up. I gotta dump half of that because you don't use it, so that's just going to waste, unfortunately. Because you can't leave it on there. If you do, that's because you don't have a heated barn. It clumps up and then it causes problems and breaks the distribution chain on the bottom. But then in turn, you gotta shovel it all off so you can fix the chain.
do we buy salt in bags or do we buy bulk?
Both,
If you use the one that the spreader on the Chevy is bagged,
yeah.
right? So you'd be looking at going to all bagged salt if you only use
And
the
those
small.
pallets fit in the back of it, like the truck you have now.
The Dodge?
Yeah, because it's 4 foot, just like any
Right.
fender well,
Yeah,
4
it would
foot,
fit in
4
the
foot.
back.
You can set a pallet right up in there, that's what we did with the Chevy.
Then we get rid of then we'd only have 2 vehicles. We'd have enough salt spreaders. Scott, you have a comment?
I got a question for Kurt. I mean, he comes from snow country, and we've been pretty fortunate down here for some reason. We haven't had any kind of snow. Sounds like you're considering 2 3/4 ton trucks to do our snow removal. Whereas, if we do have a pretty heavy snow event, if you want something bigger than a 3/4 ton truck, like the 1 ton that we currently have or even bigger, for that option when things are getting pretty heavy, we gotta move it.
Yeah, I mean, in Wisconsin, we'd had, dump trucks with blades on them, but, we had a 4.5 ton truck to plow parking lots and stuff. And when it got about 12 inches or so, then it was enough for it to push, so, I mean, you know, you'd get 12 inches, it'd be a workout, or you just start, you get 2 inches, you keep plowing, you know what I mean, so it didn't build up, but if you had 12 inches or so, it would be a workout for the trucks with a straight blade. But,
Hey, the truck we got now is only a 3/4 ton, it's not a 1 ton, not a 3,500,
you know, I think it's 3/4, isn't
I
it?
think it's
2,500?
2,500 is that.
2,500.
It's about, I looked at it today, around 8,000 GVW, which is
Yeah.
3/4 ton.
So I guess if there was a big, you know, several inches, you just have to keep up on it, and,
Yeah.
you know, every 3 inches.
But they are it's four-wheel drive too, and that
Right.
makes a big difference.
Yeah, oh yeah.
in plows, everything. And whichever truck you get, you would want a four-wheel drive option.
Oh,
I agree with
absolutely.
that.
well, I don't think
I
anybody here
think-
would buy anything that
Yeah.
was a
What do
four-wheel
you
drive.
think, Kurt? I think you'd want a 1 ton of 3,500 as opposed to a 2,500. That way you've got,
I mean, you could get you could put a bigger plow on it, I suppose, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
The blades we got now are 7.5 foot, you can't go down many places where only people park their car with a big blade. That's the trouble.
I thought the littler truck was used for like the cul-de-sacs, to get in the cul-de-sacs to plow.
Yes, but that's always been the case, but we didn't have
The Ram.
we didn't have the Ram, which
It'll
it
work.
is the same thing as as a
Oh,
little
okay,
truck.
okay.
Okay, right. So, yeah, so the big truck, they weren't putting down in the cul-de-sacs in those tight areas. Well, I don't know. I mean, we never know if we're gonna have a 12-inch snow.
Oh, we
Right.
better not.
If we do,
I'm blaming it right there.
I mean, I will say this, after, I just did math, and after, I just lost it, but, after everything that, all these quotes that we have for the work that has been suggested to be done, and with the truck, there's still over $200,000 that has to be obligated by the end of the year.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know that pricing is, hopefully, we're not worried about pricing if we've got to spend that kind of money. I think it's more a matter of what we think we would get the most use out of, in town. I mean, and obviously, I think we need to get down, we don't need, like you were saying, we don't need 4 vehicles. And whether it's 2 vehicles and a dump trailer, or a dump truck and a Dodge, that's up to, we can figure that out, but, I just didn't know if we really wanted to have 2 of the same thing.
One other thing, if you do go with the dump trailer option, you can get those where they have ramps, and you can get rid of one of your other trailers, because you can load mows on those dump trailers too. They have those capabilities, so that's a big deal.
Good point.
So, yeah, so my spreadsheet correlates to what you were saying. Yeah, Mike?
One more thing, if you're gonna spend money, the smaller mower, the 5-foot cut one, is 22 years old, that'd be a good thing to replace.
Yeah, I don't know if it falls into the category we have to do it under
Well,
for
I don't
this.
either, yeah. It's gonna take it down for
Oh, yeah.
So,
I don't know, I just question the idea of having 2 of anything other than maybe a patrol car in a fleet the size of our fleet. You know, it just seems like we're somewhat limiting ourselves in capability, by just having
But-
2 tool trucks.
we still would have we'd have the same functionality as what we have now.
Be a lot easier to get a dump truck into a short space than it would be a dump trailer. But I'm not a truck expert, I mean, I sell computers. All I'm just telling you is, you know, unitaskers are just something that are not one of my favorite things. If we need 2 trucks with tool beds, then great. But we've got, and granted, we've got Baker, and we're gonna have other stuff, I'm sure, coming in, and we're gonna need the vehicles. But it's what do we need now? And when you look at what we have, we got a tool truck, we got a regular pickup truck, and we got a dump truck. And I don't know how a tool bedded truck is gonna replace the dump truck and the other truck. I mean, yeah, the tool bed and the Chevy, that's the same thing, but we were never meant to have 3 vehicles in the first place. But, hey, like I said, I'm just bringing it up so that we're thinking about it. I don't,
Well, we do have to allocate something by the end of the year.
We do by the end of the year.
right, I mean,
Yeah.
this is all kind of short notice to,
I know. And so we really need to be prepared to make a decision probably by the 17th. I'm thinking, I would like to.
Decision on how much or decision on what specific vehicle?
Well, decision on what specific, what we're gonna do, because we gotta have a quote, we gotta have something that we can say, we're committed.
You gotta have something that you've signed before the end of the year.
Right.
Well, so my suggestion would be, let's come back to trucks, let's get the other stuff nailed down, and then we can talk more about trucks, or if you guys wanna throw it up and make a decision, we can make a decision. Like I said, I just bring it up because I wanna make sure we're thinking about it.
I mean, I think the ideal situation would be to have another utility, so you have Baker Farms and what's gonna be across the road. And I mean, there's been times where me and Mike been out, and one of us has to go to each other to bring tools to them. But, and then you'd have a plow, and then, I mean, if you needed if that dump truck ever died, or if you ever wanted to replace it, I guess you could technically buy a used one at one point if you really needed it, right? I mean, 'cause if you buy this dump bed and then decide in 3 years you need another utility truck, I mean, are you gonna have money then to buy that, or?
Well, if you have to buy one or the other, I'm assuming the utility truck would be a less expensive buy than the dump truck. But I don't know, again, I don't buy trucks.
Well, we could buy both.
Well, that's an option, we can do both.
That is an option,
That's up to
actually.
you
I
guys.
think that's where maybe Bridget was at.
I mean, we could,
Although I know she wants a backhoe.
You might wanna back
Yeah. And the Reese Hitch Salter, I mean, that's, even though it's a little bit more in salt cost if you're buying it in bags instead of bulk, but it's kinda ideal because
You're not wasting any of it.
I'm not wasting it, it can sit in the shed if we don't use it, and it's not gonna harden in the box.
Right.
And the county's only open from 7 to 3, so if we need it at night, well,
is that where we get bulk salt?
yeah, you're kind of, you know, your hands are tied, you can't get it until 7 in the morning, so.
Do we buy salt sand mixed?
No,
No,
great salt.
straight salt.
We used sand at some point though, didn't we?
The salt flat.
Did we use sand at some, cause I remember sand being on the roads.
Problem,
Oh.
that's why we quit. It goes up in the bed in the big clumps, and when the sand in it, cause it holds more moisture.
Right. Okay.
So you can get either one at the county, and I think it costs the same either way.
But you could actually, in those smaller ones, because you're gonna use the whole thing, most likely, you could mix sand, you could pour a bag of salt in, a bag of sand, or
Yeah.
two
yeah.
bags of salt, one bag of sand, or
Right.
however. You could do that, and then not have that clumping problem.
Yeah, it's just the moisture, the sand freezes, and
It's too big. Most county garages and all that, they will park their truck with salt and heat it, so they don't have that problem. I think that's what we do.
Steve, would you know what any of these attachments would cost on this switching over?
I didn't, like I said, I didn't get into a conversation with somebody, cause I didn't wanna start that, and then,
Yeah, right.
you know, if somebody said, hey, we're gonna buy it, then I figured you would be the one to talk to them, not me, cause I don't know what you need, or,
Sure.
and I think you have to
Right,
base
for
some
you.
of that on what truck you got, right, cause the
Right.
wheelbases are different on different
Yeah.
assemblies. But I wanna say, some reason I thought I saw a number somewhere that was around 20K for the hoist and the bed, but I don't hold me to that.
I guess I was just thinking on this, the switch and go. I mean, if you got a utility box and a dump bed, what would you have on it more? I mean, you probably would have the utility box on it most of the time,
Yeah.
so
But then you'd have the option to do whatever you need.
you would, but, I mean, if you got,
I think
Yeah,
you're,
but we,
with that,
I mean,
with
it's a
a
good
bigger,
idea, but.
with a bigger truck, you're gonna have higher fuel costs, I mean, cause you're gonna be using it,
Yeah.
you could, yeah, in the same capacity as you would a smaller truck.
I wanna go bigger. The plowing, and if people aren't supposed to park on the street when it snows, but they do. So the nice truck we got, it looks fast.
All right, well,
It's a challenge when I use a dump truck to plow, because I gotta be careful of heck, but, there's so much power up the wall.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I think you have something a little smaller, you got more more maneuverability.
And it's a 7.5 foot blade on it, it's not truck.
I mean, you could always, get the dump trailer, and then you could get a skid steer also. I mean, if you need it.
Whatever we do, obviously, if we're gonna get a utility bedded truck, that's fine, but we need to make a decision, because obviously we need to go and get more than, we can't just go to one dealership, we have to talk to multiple dealerships, there's a process to this thing, which, after going through the process with the sealing of the lots and the demo on the thing, it is a long process, so if we're gonna get a utility bed, let's do her, but we gotta get looking for a truck, because we've gotta sign the papers on it. We can't just go to one dealer.
You gotta solicit quotes from 3.
Right.
For over $150,000, right?
I believe it's up to, and then over 150,000 is bids.
Oh, I see, so you still have to
Yeah.
get 3,
You still have to
If
go
it's
out and get
less
3
than-
quotes
what's the minimum that you don't have to get 3?
I have to double check. I think it's 25 or 50, I think. It depends on what your purchasing policy says, but I believe it's 25,000 is the minimum, and you're not gonna get a truck for less than 25,000, so.
So we'd still need to get 2 more quotes.
You don't
Yeah,
actually
we're-
have to get 2 quotes, you just have to solicit
Solicit.
3.
I see.
And you might get responses from folks, you might not, but,
I just want to ask you, if you would just get it from 3 different salespeople. No, I mean, cause that's what you should.
you'd go to 3 different dealers. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that's,
Well,
You spec the truck, take it to 3 dealers, go, okay, what's my
Well,
price
Well,
gonna
this,
be on
this
this?
dealer has 2 dealerships,
if
so.
they have more than 2. they have
yeah, you'd
5
go to
dealerships.
you'd go to different dealers. I mean, that's what I would
They
suggest.
own this one, they own that one, they own one, they own several dealerships. So you have to go there.
Okay,
Well, they're still different entities though, even though they're owned by one person, they're
Right,
still.
right, yeah, that would be
So-
considered a different dealer.
so that makes this a little bit more of a problem then too, because, yeah, we've got 1, right? We have to solicit for 2 more, and
Has to be done in
that has to be
2
done.
weeks.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if I came to you wanting a quote on a car, you could have it to me in 2 weeks, right? So that shouldn't be a problem. But, yeah, but
Just
so,
gotta find dealer, I mean, you don't have to go there in person,
right.
just
No,
gotta
but
find a
these-
dealer that carries.
These salesmen aren't gonna do this for free, not because they like it, not unless you're buying the truck.
They're
Well,
not
if
gonna
you,
give you a quote.
if you call them and say, hey, this is the town of Dayton, I got a spec sheet in front of me with a price on it, let me send it to you, what's your price gonna be?
That's what I done.
Right, you have to do
But
it
the
to,
next one's not gonna do that unless you're gonna buy the truck off of them.
when I look for a car, I just made the mistake of going on a website and looking for something, I got
Yeah, website.
eight emails a day
Right.
from those
Yeah.
guys hunting for
That
sales.
might be the way to do it on a website.
I'm just saying, all you really need to do,
And knock it
and
out.
again, be honest, with you, I'm getting a little frustrated with the whole process at this point.
All right.
Send the sheet you have for the truck you want to 2 other dealers, say, I want this truck, how much?
So,
Then you're done, you've covered your bases. If they all come in higher, great, buy it from the guy you know. If they come in lower, then you can go back to him and
So-
They're
say,
not gonna be lower because they're not all getting my discount, you're getting my discount.
right.
so,
Getting your green stuff?
okay.
Well, now they call it something else.
All right, guys. So, then if we do that, I mean, then we're saying that that this is the setup that we're gonna want. Because otherwise, we're probably gonna run out of time for doing anything else. Help me with this, Steve, I'm not quite sure is that what we're saying?
Well,
Well, I mean, we've gotta have this done by,
End of the year.
End of the year.
into December, right? We're in
Yeah.
December, so at this point, you've gotta have a deal done with a dealer for whatever we're buying, at least signed, hey, we want this truck. You know, here's my order, whether they have to order it or not, or get things, and once we've signed it, give them a deposit or whatever, we're committed, we're fine, right?
Right.
We don't have to have the truck in inventory, we just have to have a sign for it.
I understand that, but what is it that we are going to get? Is this what is this configuration what we want?
Whatever you guys wanna get, I
That's
just,
kinda what they're saying.
Well,
What
that's,
they're-
I would be okay with doing that. We know we can cover our other bases in other ways with the salt spreader on the back and the dump trailer if we want it. So we can do that, but, I don't know, this looked really neat, but I'm wondering, I don't know.
if you wanna go, I mean, throw it up to the thing, we'll vote on it, we'll be done. If that's what that everybody feels, then that's what we'll do. That's
Okay,
the
so-
decision, right? We're gonna go, if we want
So
utility budgets,
so
put it
you
up.
want me, do you want me to get 2 more quotes on this configuration?
If we're buying that, yes, I think you have to get 2 more quotes, whether it's you or Kurt or me, somebody's gotta
Okay,
Yeah.
do that.
okay.
I mean, I don't,
So that's what I'm saying. Is this what we're gonna agree to do?
I think we don't have time to do,
Anything else? Okay.
no, cause I like the idea of the truck and then putting the tool bed behind the cab and still having the full bed, but we don't have time for all that.
Okay. All right, so that's what we'll do then. All right. See how easy that was? Okay. All right, so then let's talk about the hydrant maintenance and testing. On that, those guys would be here for 3 days. And then I also want to have them do the GPS coordinates so that once we've got all that information, we can put that onto our GPS map. And at some point, we're gonna figure out a GPS reader that if they've gotta find it'll do 2 things for us. If I've got the GPS, then I've got a fixed location that'll never change, and we can always reference back to any maintenance that had to be done on it, when it was maintenanced, anything specific about it, we'll have all that information on it. That's another, $1,825. So, it was, maintenance, or hydrant maintenance and testing, $10,100, and the GPS to hydrants, $1,825. So that's the hydrant. Do we wanna say we wanna go ahead and do that? I mean, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do our hydrants one way or another at some point, so.
so that's the 3 pages, so we're just prepaying for next year? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, we'll just prepay for next year. essentially.
That makes sense, I mean, we gotta use the money, we might as well get something out of it, that's right.
Okay, so we okay with doing that then?
Yeah.
We need to vote on it, or is it just,
Yeah.
you need to hear okay?
Well, let's talk about the other 2 as well, and then we'll just vote on, and see
Okay.
if we're gonna vote on all 3 of them, or if not, then we'll figure that out. Okay, so then the next one is the, valve assessment program, and that would be where they would come in, find our valves, and then try to open and close the valves, which has never been done to my knowledge.
And where's,
That second page,
this what?
the second page, there's 3 pages. The
Up at
second
the right-hand
It's
corner,
actually
it
number
says,
8
it
in the
says
top.
8 at the top corner.
top right
It says
corner,
investment, a commitment
Okay.
to improving, okay, did you find it?
So, and I had sent there's a whole bunch of other paperwork that goes with it, but I had emailed that to you guys ahead of time to pre-read that stuff, so,
This is all through the same company, that's fine.
yeah. So, here again, they'll be here for 5.5 days on this one, doing that. And then, mobilization, which is bringing in their equipment. And I'd like to do the GPS coordinates on that too, and that's probably just as important, if maybe not more important, than knowing where the hydrants are at, because they're pretty obvious. The valves, yeah, they're wherever, right? As Kurt knows, people pour driveways over them and all kinds of stuff going on, so that one was the valve assessment, $18,725, and the GPS, the valves, we looked at $3,300 on that. Any questions on that? All right, then the seized valve release program, what they do there is they have this machine that if they get to a valve and find that they can't open it, then this machine will come in, it'll jiggle it, jiggle it, jiggle it, jiggle it until it finally releases. And they told me they have like 100, did they say 100% success?
100%.
Yeah. On all two of them that they've done? No.
They're breaking some loose from the seventies, or 1700s or something.
Yeah, it was something ridiculous. I
Yeah.
don't know, so, yeah, it was a while ago. Anyhow, so, now here's the stickler on that is that he's made a projection of what he thinks is gonna happen on it. So we won't know if we got a stuck valve until they find out from the valve assessment whether the valves were stuck or not. So this is a little bit of a crapshoot on this one, really. We don't know if we're gonna have any, and we don't know if we're gonna have as few as what they've quoted.
Are the valves a specific size? Do you know what size the valves are? Are they all the same?
I wouldn't think so, because you got 12-inch main running down Dayton Road, and then you got 4s and 6 and 8s through town.
Okay,
So they're,
So, yeah, your valves would be smaller.
so is there any reason we couldn't buy 2 or 3 of each of those size valves to inventory?
well, it's not that, it's being, the point is that we wanna be able to shut those valves off if we have to shut off a part of town because we have a main break somewhere. And right now,
Right, I must have misunderstood, because I thought the concern was if one of those valves is bad, what are we gonna do?
If it was bad, I guess you would just probably leave it, because you'd have to dig the line up, cut it, probably do a boil alert, put a new valve in. So you'd have to compromise the line and put a new valve in, but.
this is just, what they do, Steve, this is like, they come in and they close it and open it up and they close it,
Right, make sure it works.
make sure it works.
Right.
Right? And on this, on the valve assessment program, they're doing that, but what they're saying is that they're probably gonna find some that are seized that they can't, a guy can't just do it by hand.
Right,
They need this machine to be able to free
Okay.
the thing up.
so when they find a valve that won't close, or won't open, or whatever the issue is, our plan is to just not worry about it and forget about it?
No,
No, these people are gonna,
it would be a valve that will not close,
Right,
okay.
and
So
what are these
then-
people gonna do when they find one of those?
Then that is what the third quote is for. That is bringing this machine in and being able to, like, ultrasonically attack that valve to the point where it will close.
Okay, and if it still doesn't close?
Well, then we'll have to make a decision what we're gonna do at that point.
Okay.
What-
Well, I mean, I'm fine.
The bigger
That's-
concern would be if they closed it and they couldn't open it back up.
Okay, I thought there was a concern about there's a crapshoot, but I mean,
It's a
That's
crapshoot
fine.
because there's a quote for doing, 3 valves per day, not to exceed 4 days.
okay,
That's what the quote is for. So basically, they're gonna be here for, we're gonna say we're gonna pay them for 4 days, and we anticipate that we're gonna have 12 valves that we're gonna have to do this to.
okay.
We may find out when they do the valve assessment that we don't have 12 valves, that we only got 10. Okay, so we won't, at that point, we're still probably paying the daily fee, So we'll probably pay this whole amount and only do 10 of them instead of 12. The other end of it would be that we find out we've got 16 that need to be done, but we've only committed to 12, and then we'll have to come up with that on our own. Okay?
Yep.
Okay, fine. And, so that was $25,150. I've also sent, an email to the salesperson and said I would like to get GPS locations on all of our meter pits in town. And so that is, I don't know exactly how many pits we have because we have so many that have 2 meters in them. So we've got about 560 connections, bills that we send out, right? And
Metered bills, yes.
metered bills, yeah. So I'm guessing, I think I told him, I said, quote me 400 of them and what the cost would be for doing 400 of those. And that's probably high. And you take that times 25, so that could be another $10,000 just on the GPS of the pits. So let's just put that in here to see where we're at on number wise here, okay? All right, so first off, I'll make a motion that.
Wait, may I interrupt for a
Sure.
minute? I'm sorry. AccuDig,
We haven't got to that. yet.
okay.
We're
okay,
gonna get to them next.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we, accept these quotes from M.E. Simpson Company to, do our hydrant maintenance and testing, our valve assessment program, and our seized valve release program.
I second it.
Okay, motion made by myself and seconded by Leah.
okay, how do you vote? Steve?
Yeah.
Leah?
Yes.
Rocky?
I'll vote in favor.
Yes. Okay, so that passes. So we've
We
yet to.
didn't need a total, we didn't need a number, we didn't need a total amount or anything, we just,
It's on, it's.
well, I know what's on here,
Yeah,
on
and
the
in the
quote.
minutes, I'll put the quotes.
but, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
For the quotes. All right, so the GPS, the meter pits, we don't know what that cost is yet because, he said he's down in French Lick at some conference this week, so he couldn't get me the quote until next week.
Okay,
The quotes for what?
The
Doing the
GPS.
GPS
Oh, okay.
on the, meter pits.
That's fine.
But I just put $10,000 on here. It might be way high. I don't. Okay, so, then lift station maintenance. I sent a request to Tanner Flock with
F&J, FJF or F&J? Okay.
FJF, and asked him to give us a quote for, our maintenance for next year and for 2026 as well, and he hasn't gotten back with me yet, so there'll be, I don't know what they generally charge. Did you get their bill for?
I don't recall it off the top of my head, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So anyhow, so there's some money, hopefully we'll have something by the 17th on that. There was it's not a lift station, but it's a meter station that we have that where our wastewater goes, and it gets metered before it gets sent to Lafayette. And there's some type of electronic sensor on there that's, I've gotten a notice, this notice has been out for a while, that it's reaching its end of life and it should be replaced. And so I asked for a quote on that, and the gentleman's, Jim Todd is his name. Jim Todd, and anyhow, he's getting me a quote on that, so I don't know what that's gonna be yet. And I asked Bridget to check with our street cleaning, okay? So, you guys have that in front of you. He quoted for 2025 to do the streets 6 times, $8,880. And then for 2026, $9,600. So that's
What is that?
six times a year.
Now, he says dumping on site.
Yeah, so that's what we need to talk about. So, in the past, there's always been some place here in town that he's dumped it, but we're no longer gonna be doing that. So, we probably need to get this re-quoted with him hauling it off or, let's see. Junior Lyman said he could take it as well, but we got,
What is that?
in order to stay compliant with our, MS4 stuff, it has to be dumped in a dumpster. It can't be dumped on the ground anymore. So, if he can take it and put it in the dumpster, that's probably the easiest thing to do. So we can't really do anything with this yet, cause we need to get it done so that he takes it away and dumps it,
Okay,
okay?
so I will reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll find out on that. Then the next thing was the AccuDig, and I guess before I get started, did you have
Just-
something? Okay.
I just,
So, they sent me this, and then a couple days ago, I contacted them back, and I said, we've got 48,000 linear feet of sanitary sewer in this town. And we've got 55 linear feet of water distribution, which actually has nothing to do with them. But we've got 17,000 linear feet of storm. These are all approximate. So I have no idea what they do. I mean, I know that they've come out and they've jetted out some lines before, but do they jet the lines out from one end to the other, or do they just jet them out to the next manhole? I don't know. So I called, or I emailed and asked for some guidance on that and some recommendations, and I haven't got anything back yet. But I think the things that I identified that I thought we would wanna do on here would be the jetting the sewers and the stormwater lines, remote, and then remote vacuum is required, in case they disturb enough stuff that it needs to be backed out. The sewer and stormwater lines we can run cameras down through there and see if we've got anything broken, we've got bad connections, whatever. And then there's always been, for a long time, there's been a desire to do the smoke test on the sewers and the stormwater lines. And, so, I really think that this is gonna be the ideal time for doing that. But, and
my question is though, and this is probably for you, with this broken up like this, we don't know, so would we need a total dollar amount per item?
I think what we decided was
That's
we needed
fine.
we needed to say what the scope of our work was gonna be, and then a not to exceed amount. So we
Okay.
can say, okay, so we're gonna do jetting and not to exceed $40,000, okay?
And that would be
That would be sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a total dollar figure that you're getting contracted for in order to have the ARPA money here.
Right.
I mean, certainly this is something that you can use it for, this is utility infrastructure stuff, but, like, as it's laid out right now with just a dollar, you don't know how much money is being allocated for that. So, yeah, I think you need something along those lines you need a quote from them for how much it's gonna cost to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, and so we didn't know I don't know what we need done, so that's kinda where we're at right now. So I did try to contact Mark Harlow at one point, but said it wasn't taking any calls at this time, so I don't know if I got this wrong number or
I'll give it
not.
to you.
So
I
we'll
apologize.
need to contact him, and we're gonna talk about him here in just a minute too. So a couple things, one of the things I've had on my mind for a while was possibly insulating the meter house from the inside. I talked to Mike about that, and I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but We were spending $360, $400 a month sometimes on electric for there. It's kind of a long story on that, but we could spend some money on that. Now, water meters, okay? So Bridget sent us all did you send it to everybody?
I know Steve mentioned it at the last meeting, but basically in a nutshell, if we order a surplus of water meters, just as Steve thought, I think it would be beneficial for the town, because since I started here, there has been an increase in those, and we're definitely going to have a need for them. And for the meter and the antenna, I believe it was $395.
What do we pay now?
That's what it costs now,
So if we buy,
per meter.
but if we buy a quantity from them, they're not gonna give us any break on it. Okay, that seems a little odd.
Yeah.
So the next, if they do, I'm gonna call it Baker Farms West, if they do that subdivision out there, we would need, maybe another 130 meters, something like that.
Well, that was when I was talking to Bridget, that was my thought, it's like we're getting ready to look at another fairly decent sized development, and we need to spend this money, and meters seem like a good place to, it should fall under the category to be safe, and they don't go bad, it's not like they're gonna sit and rot. So my thought was we should buy a bunch of those. Again, kinda going back to your other thing is, if we think we're gonna need valves, or we're gonna need, like, this would be the time to buy a couple of whatever we think we might need, store them up, because again, they don't necessarily go bad, right?
Right.
Yeah, so,
Right.
we got this money, let's spend it on things that we may have to spend down the road and save ourselves some money long-term.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I don't know how many more houses are going to go up on the east side of Dayton Road in Baker Farms.
Well, I think we.
Well, we know it's gonna be at least twice the size of,
I think we pre-ordered enough meters to.
I know that antennas, we've had to replace some broken antennas and we've had to replace a broken meter.
Well, okay, I think we got enough meters right now to do the rest of it,
Okay.
okay? And that was the intention when the last time we ordered meters. And we should have ordered the same amount of antennas at that time too. It's not to say that we're not gonna need some for replacements, we've seen that happen. But if we anticipate another 130 houses that we're gonna need them for, and that's 130 times 400, that's $52,000,
is that the meter or the meter and the antenna?
meter and antenna,
So I would say, how many did you figure, 130?
130.
And I would order, if it were me, I would order extra antennas.
I was just gonna say, if we're gonna order 130, I would order 130 meters and 150 or 145 antennas. Cause
Okay.
antennas are what's on the surface and they get busted.
Yes.
Right.
And again, you're gonna wanna solicit from 3 providers of that.
Well,
Unless there's a sole provider.
There
That was
is,
gonna be my
Okay.
next question, does anybody
Yeah.
else make these things? Cause
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who, if you
Yeah.
go into them and say, look, I wanna buy 150 of something, but they're not gonna say, well, most of them automatically have a quantity break.
and these meters and the antennas go with our whole meter read system.
Then if that's the sole provider who
Yeah.
provides that.
Okay,
meter.
so we're okay there, okay.
Which explains why they're not willing to give us a deal.
So, let's just for kicks and giggles, put down $55,000
Okay.
in here and see what that brings us to. Okay. Here's something I thought about, and I needed to hear from you on this, Patrick. And I haven't talked to Mark, because obviously I couldn't get a hold of him. But when this hydrant testing happens, when they're exercising valves, when all this stuff is happening, is gonna be probably in the summertime, when there's gonna be grass needing to be cut and everything else that happens, locates out the yin yang. I thought it would be really nice if we could hire Mark Harlow as a contractor and have him help coordinate some of this stuff, if he would be interested in doing that.
With ARP funds.
With ARP funds. So, I guess the first question is, well, there's two questions. Would we desire to do that, and can we do that? So, let me ask you first, do you think we can do that? Hire a contractor to oversee the work that's gonna be being done in spending these funds for taking care of this water infrastructure?
Yeah, I mean, I would double check it, but I think probably. I mean, that's somebody to oversee sewer infrastructure and utility infrastructure, so I think probably, but I'd wanna double check that.
Okay. So, and it would be, he'd be contracted, he's not gonna be salary, he's not gonna be hourly, he's gonna be contracted. Now, what do you guys think about that? What's your thoughts on it?
And one other question is he like an engineer or something?
He was our town manager.
Is your town manager, so
And
it's,
he's a certified water operator.
so it would be, you'd be contracting with him to provide professional services overseeing these
Yeah.
projects? Probably, I'd wanna spend a couple minutes double checking, but I think that's probably within the utility use.
Some of the language for ARP on the Department of Treasury's website is just,
Which, which it's, there's a lot of gray, which,
oh,
so,
So you would have to figure, we would need to know what he wants, what he's gonna charge us hourly, and then figure out a rough time of, we're gonna need him for this many hours, or, and have some kind of an idea, right?
yeah.
I think, what we would wanna do is we would try and contract him to say what the scope of the project would be, and contract him to oversee that, as opposed to number of hours, cause I don't think you can actually tell a contractor how many hours they're gonna work.
Yeah, I would treat it like you do a contract with an engineer, right, to oversee a project of some sort. I mean, they just quote you what they're gonna charge for that, generally speaking, and they can figure out however many hours they think it's gonna take on
That's
their
generally
end.
a not to
And what their
exceed-
rate is, and
not
give
to
you an
exceed
estimate.
number two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know what he would want, but would we wanna do that? His wealth of experience in this town would be very helpful, especially finding all these valves and everything too. Cause I know, it can really get, you can be spending a lot of time in the summer doing a whole lot of other things as well.
I think I'd fill him out, see if he thinks he remembers where all these valves and everything are at, and, is this something we're considering putting in with our,
Using the ARP money.
yeah.
Yeah.
using our-
I don't have an issue with it as long as we've got some kind of an actual, here's what we wanna get accomplished, here's what we wanna use them for, as opposed to let's just blindly have them come out and do locates, you know what I mean, it's.
No, and I agree, and he's not gonna be here for locates.
Right.
I mean, other than to locate where the valves are and to oversee these guys, because this is what I found out when they did the hydrants. Okay, these guys are out here, but I'm constantly having to say, they're like, well, where's the next hydrant we gotta go to? Well, somebody's gotta tell them where to go, right? Somebody's gotta document what they did and everything. We did have a game plan, but you still have, you gotta have somebody there to work with the contractors to make sure that they know how to do the work, but they need to know where you do the work at.
Wouldn't that be Kurt?
If he's not out doing locates or cutting grass or any of the other things too. If I felt confident that it wasn't gonna take up more time than he has available, and he's still only gonna be, 35 hours a week.
Okay.
So-
Again, I don't have an issue with
mean-
bringing Mark on, I just think there needs to be a scope of, I would assume they require some kind of a scope of, here's the project, you can't just say, hey, I wanna bring some guy on, give him 20
Yeah.
grand.
Probably
You'd have to have a
contract.
contract that outlines what the scope
Right.
of work is.
Yeah, we have no idea whether he's even gonna
Yeah.
be interested. He may
Yeah.
say,
Absolutely, Mark is a wealth of knowledge, and I trust him, I think he'll do a good job no matter what we do, I just know that for this kind of stuff, you gotta have some kind of an outline, so I absolutely think we can approach him. I think that would be a great idea.
All right, so I think I'll try and get in contact with him and see if he's interested in doing that. Then, when they did the last hydrant repairs, there were some things that needed to be done that, from their report on that. And I'm gonna guess that's maybe $2,000 we need to spend on that, so that money can come out of there. So, at this point, without knowing what's gonna happen with, AccuDig, the truck and the hydrant maintenance and stuff, and valves and everything we already talked about, projected, cost for GPS meter pits, don't know what the lift station's gonna be, don't know what the flow meter station RTU is gonna be, street cleaning is still out there. But right now, I'm at, having spent $197,738.75 approximately, okay?
Okay, so does that include the 1,500, I'm sorry, the 1,500 for the grant writer and then the $10,000 that we?
No, did not.
Okay,
So, let's put those in there too.
The 10K for what?
for the utilities, projects, planning project that the grant writer did.
Okay.
We allocated $10,000, out of ARP funds for the engineers to come in and do their thing. And then I did get, Shannon, the grant writer's invoice, and it can be paid out of ARP funds, so it, it's 1,500.
I noticed one of the other things on the list was a ground penetrating radar for locates, I assume. Did we look into that, Kurt? Is that something you could look into? Is that what those, when I see the 811 guys roaming around?
Well, I think they have tracer wires in their following that.
Okay.
This is more of, looks kinda like a lawnmower.
Well, that's what, in TV, that's what I've always seen. I don't know, I've never seen one in real life, but is that something that would, I don't know, we're, like I said, we're looking to buy infrastructure stuff that we can use from now on.
Yeah, I don't know how that was, I'm not sure.
So,
Okay,
I
so
heard
do we
you-
need the thing that helps you find guide wire stuff, or?
Well, most and nothing really. Is there anything in town that has tracer wires?
The only thing that has tracer wires is up in Baker Farms now.
I was gonna say that in if residents put it in, we didn't lay it in, but,
Yeah, so when they installed the lines, they put that stuff in.
right.
The thing about Baker Farms is we essentially kinda know where everything's at, although, I mean, the meter pits, yeah, I guess we don't know for sure. So the ground penetrating radar would, I mean, if you had.
I just was looking for something that would make locates, because I know that takes up a lot of your time, a simpler process, and I didn't know if there was some kind of a gadget that would help that.
You can research that.
So I heard you say something about a skid steer. Would that be, I don't know what one is.
Okay.
Bobcat.
I'm gonna
So would that
Bobcat.
just sit here quietly.
be beneficial?
Well, I mean, right now you get some stuff from McAllister's to do
We-
odds and ends.
I know. Well, so, I'm like you, I don't like thinking that they're always gonna give us everything we want.
I know it works so well with Colder, so I mean, we should maybe keep trying.
But that is something that is easily available, and the cost to rent it would not be very much if we need it. And then we don't have to we don't have to maintain it, right?
We don't have to
Because,
store it.
I mean, we just rent it as needed, and the ability to get it is just almost immediate.
Okay.
So that's why I'm kinda like, do we really wanna invest in that? Now, maybe we've got enough money left over when this is all said and done that we decide that's a good idea, but I'd like to look at these other things. So, right now, add the 1,500 in for the grant writer and the $10,000 for the grant. And we spent about $210,000, okay? Leaving us about $140,000 left over at this point. So, maybe another another $20,000 on the street cleaning. I don't know what the lift station maintenance was, I can't imagine that's more than 20. So we're still about $100,000, and we could do the jetting and the remote vac and the CVC and the
Mark,
smoke test, yes.
what about the valve in the meter house that,
You know, they never got back with me on that,
okay.
so, yeah, we'll have to shut the water off for a whole day in town if they do that. I really wish we were just concentrating on spending all this money on a water tower, really,
Oh, so do I.
cause we'll have to figure out another way to do that. Anyhow, it is as it is. And that included $55,000 for water meters too, in that total that I gave, so that's kind of where we're at right now. We've decided on the M.E. Simpson stuff. We're gonna do that, and then the rest of the stuff we'll have to talk about on the 17th, I guess.
Kirk, could you, look at, if you get a chance, look at any major components that we might have to replace, valves, backflow valves, that kind of stuff, and see if we can't get some numbers on if we wanted to put a spare of everything back somewhere in case we do need it for an emergency. That would be the other thing I think we should be looking at spending money on, is, like I said, have a couple of 8-inch, have a couple of 12-inch, whatever, because if we do have to go in there and fix one of those things,
Yeah.
typically, it's gonna be one of those things where we need it
No.
now, and not if it's something we have to order or they don't have.
That was the other so that was the other thing on the lift station. I asked for a quote for a couple pumps,
Right.
get a couple extra pumps, bigger pumps. That way, even if we did use them and we have to put another lift station in, if something goes in over here on the east side of town, we may have to put another lift station in there.
Then we'd have some of the components.
We'd have the pumps already, so that cost would.
Right.
would-
But again, that's one of those things where we're gonna have to get some quotes quick, so if you could throw a list together, maybe see about getting some numbers.
All right. Any more questions on any of that? Pretty entertaining, isn't it?
I appreciate it though,
Oh, something to think about for your, whatever truck you decide to go with, or we decide to go with, it's gonna have to go over to move over and get lighted.
Right.
So make sure we're looking at that as part of the quote.
Yeah. Lights. Yeah, there'll be some accessory money needs to be. Scott.
Afternoon, evening. Something I noticed on that truck quote, there was a GPS on it. I don't know what that was about, but the town does have that GPS through Verizon that we put on all the vehicles, so that may be something that's not needed on the oil spill. First of all, I'd like to tell the council that I appreciate all the time, effort, and consideration that was put forth on the salary ordinances. I know that it's not an easy decision to make when discussing those things and doing that research. So on behalf of the Dayton Police Department, we do appreciate it. My purpose for being here tonight is to talk about our portable radios. These are radios that we carry on our sides, on our uniform. A little history, we have 3 portable Motorola radios. I don't believe the Dayton Police Department has ever purchased new radios. I inherited these when I came on in 2014. In 2015 or 16, we were able to get some hand-me-down radios from the prosecutor's office. Back at that time, the prosecutor's office would get or purchase equipment for departments and from time to time with some of their allocated resources. That has since went by the wayside, so that's not an avenue anymore. For example, I know back in the day, we would be able to get flashlights and small items like that through the prosecutor's office, through some accounts that they had to help local police departments. But so, we still have 2 of those radios, and I also purchased a refurbished unit back in 2018, paid $800 for that. The build dates that I could find on the radios that we have, one of them was built in 2008, so they're 16 years old. They're pretty resilient, and it does say something well of Motorola's quality. Currently, we have one of the 3 that's doesn't have full functionality. We have 2 that that are still in service, but they are beyond the ability to be serviced or repaired. They're not servicing this model anymore, and they haven't for several years. For about 3 years, I've been looking for a grant or alternative funding for portables, and just have not been able to come up with anything, and I keep pushing it on the back burner. And each year, clerk treasurer has asked me what items we might need for the next, and for at least 2 years, I've said we're gonna have to be thinking about getting portables here soon, because we can't get ours serviced. So I've been researching this, and I sent everybody a couple of options. And really there's really only one option. I did get some quotes from Move Over Outfitters on the Harris brand portable that they are selling. I demoed these units. The first option, the portables were around $2,200 a piece. That portable had limited range, and there were several places in town where I could not get a signal to contact dispatch. So crossed that one on the list. The next one I tested was another Harris model that was a little more expensive. They were $3,800 a piece. They're kind of unknown in that not many law enforcement agencies are using them. None of the police departments in Tippecanoe County are using them. I think there are some fire departments, smaller fire departments outside our area that may have used some of these. Didn't have real good reviews from at least one agency that I talked to as far as durability and reliability. But I was trying to come up with some cheaper alternatives to the Motorola, and I did send out, contact 2 companies that sold the Motorola radios, and one didn't return my call, but another one did, and that's where the quotes came from. And this is basically the Motorola representative for Indiana. So what I'm asking for, I know I got a quote for 2, but after a discussion with Steve about what we currently have and the age that we have, it would probably be a good idea to have 3 so that we can have 1 in reserve, 1 for the part-time officers, or 2 should we have problems with one of the radios. So the benefit to the Motorola, number 1, we do have a local business, Raycom, who services these portables, so they can be worked on, and they would be the ones who actually do all the programming. With the Harris, one of the downsides to them, if there was a problem that needs to be repaired, it would have to get sent to Southern Indiana, so that could be an extended amount of time where we would be without the portable. That's kind of going back. I'm not really asking for you guys to approve, for the council to approve the Harris's. The Motorola that they're quoting, the APX 6000, this is currently being carried by the majority of law enforcement across the state, and about 100% here in Tippecanoe County. It is a current radio that is able to be fixed and maintained should there be a problem with it. The other positive attribute to the APX series over the one we currently carry is in our school systems, in all of Tippecanoe County school systems, particularly here in Dayton. They have, Tippecanoe County has a Wi-Fi network that works throughout the school. And typically, we have problems in schools getting out into dispatch because of concrete steel structures. So there's many places where we have dead zones and we cannot reach dispatch should we need to. The radio that I'm quoting has a Wi-Fi smart zone feature in it that allows it to connect to the Wi-Fi network in the school, which in turn relays that signal by some form or fashion, digitally wise, to the towers and back to dispatch. So that is the main reason why I am asking for you to consider the purchase of the Motorola APX series. Now, the Sheriff's Department has, the Tippecanoe County has bought all the infrastructure and through Motorola and has it in place currently on their radio towers and in the schools. And the only thing that we have to do to get on that network, that Wi-Fi network in the school, is have a portable that's capable of being programmed with this technology. And so these radios would allow that to take place. They are expensive. Like I say, I've known they're gonna be expensive, and I've tried to find something. I've called the state, I've called IDEM, I've been searching for some kind of grant and just have been coming up with a blank. So why bring it up now? As you know, in 2023, we budgeted for a new police car in 2024. At that time, we were considering getting a hybrid vehicle, which we know was gonna be about $7,000 to $10,000 more. And we weren't real sure at that time, I think, as whether we were gonna trade in or transfer some of the equipment. So we ended up trading in a vehicle, plus we ended up getting a non-hybrid model, which saved us $10,000 to $20,000 overall on that purchase. And the clerk, and she can chime in on this, said that now would be a good time to purchase these because we have this budgeted money that we didn't spend. In addition to that, I think there's some opioid fund money possibly that
I wouldn't even have to touch opioid. It could all come out of your fund, out of lit, and even if you purchase 3 of them. So I'm thinking for 2 of them is $13,655.02. So for 3 of them, per one, it's $6,827.51. So for 3 of them would be $20,482.53. You have the money in your fund to cover it.
And
There's
I
still
would
money
add,
left over.
I would add $100 in that for the carrier to put on the
For
holder
one
to put it on our
carrier?
belt. So,
One additional carrier.
yeah.
Okay. So would like
Okay.
So I'd like to-
22,000 be safe?
Well, no, you said you said 100, an extra
I mean,
$100.
okay, I'm sorry.
Just $100. There'd be 2 at approximately $50 a piece.
20,000.
So we're looking at essentially $20,600.
Yes,
All right.
$20,600.
And so, and he's got the money was budgeted to do this with.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we provide up to $20,600 to purchase the radios and the accessories as outlined here.
I'll second that.
Motion made by myself and seconded by Steve.
Okay, how do you vote, Leah?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just wanna make note of this, that total in the lit fund in each category, the total amount, is $39,171.05, so he is fine.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 722 Walnut Street. Steve, you wanna take this?
So in your packets, you will see the sheet I put together that I sent out to the companies. I got 2 quotes, I put out to 3, but only got 2 back. I'd like to propose that we move forward with the demolition of the property, making it into a more usable space for, town events, whether it be food trucks or, I know the Bicentennial Committee's looking at different things over the summer and spring to raise money. I just think it'd be more usable until we can find another use for it as a flat green lot than it is currently as a in bad shape building. There are 2 quotes. The first one is from James Lyman Jr., and he came in at $70K. The other one is from MC Excavating, and they came in at,
63.
yeah, $63K. So,
So this MC Excavating, it was dated of March this year.
yeah, I would have to call them and confirm. I have did I give you the old one? I thought I had a more current one. They may have just sent me the old one again. I'll confirm with whoever we decide to go with that they're still good, because obviously, when I got these, it's been a little while since it's taken us some time to get to it, and I'll
But you did,
call both of them and confirm.
but you did recently recontact MC.
Yeah, I sent everybody emails, sent to James, I think I've got them. James MC Excavating and Hack Excavating. So, yeah, again, I will reconfirm if we decide to move forward.
Is there any difference between what the two's gonna be doing? I mean,
I had Kurt look at it, cause obviously this is, you know, I'm not a construction guy, but,
Right.
he looked at both of them and felt that they were pretty equivalent. That there really wasn't dropped off something we needed to get done to get the lower price. And I gave him pretty clear instructions on what we wanted done.
I mean, the second quote in there, he talks about removing the cement. I don't know if the first one just kind of throwing in there that it seems like it's added onto that quote, but it's not exactly.
Which is the first,
It says
this,
cement removed on it. but-
Concrete hauled to an off-site location. Is
Right.
that what you mean saying? Yeah, so,
Yeah.
yeah, concrete removed and loaded into trucks. So, yeah, if this MC Excavating is, I guess we would wanna go with the lower quote.
yeah,
I would
there's,
think if it's essentially
It's
the same.
$7,000, I mean, I was,
Yeah. Well, I'll make a motion that we, hire, MC Excavating Demolition to do the work as stated on this estimate.
I second it.
Motion made by do we need to say the total on here?
Yes, please.
Okay, for a total of $63,396.50.
You're still second that motion, Leah?
I second that.
Okay, motion made by myself and seconded by Leah.
Okay, how do you vote, Steve?
yes.
Leah?
Yes.
Rocky?
yes,
Mark?
Yes.
Then I will contact them and start working on demolition permit.
Mark, I have
Thank you,
something
Steve.
that I need approval for. So Bicentennial is having the Santa here on Sunday, and he wants paid after his services are rendered. So I'm asking approval to approve check number 1326 in the amount of $150 payable to William Kelly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's supposed to be Santa, isn't it? Who's this William Kelly dude?
I'll make a motion that we, pay the Santa bill for
William Kelly?
I'll second that just to stay off the naughty list.
I thought it was 200.
No, I talked to him and I wheeled and dealed and just said, please, you know, you're doing this for a
You're tough.
town.
Good
and
job.
said, please come down 50, I went to school with him.
Motion made by myself, who seconded?
Steve?
Steve.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay,
Steve
how do you
seconded.
vote? Leah?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Rocky?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
What's that date again? You said Sunday?
Sunday, the 8th?
Sunday.
Yes.
And that's from 4 to 6?
You were gonna ask me that.
I think it
thought you
is.
said that. I
They'll be
think
serving
so.
hot chocolate and taking photos, and you can buy photos, and of course, they've got the
Yeah.
bicentennial, Christmas ornaments they
Yes.
had made, which were very nice. I took a look at those at the meeting
Okay,
last night.
that's Sunday, I thought it was Saturday, but Sunday.
Hot cocoa bar and cookies, yes. And then there's cookies with Santa cocoa and with, at the school on Saturday.
Ramp them up on sugar.
Okay, public comment? Council comment? This meeting is adjourned.
Kirk, can you make sure all the utilities over there are shut down?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I thought too, but just double check.